next question naman, how did you prepare for a game? Given, of course, di ba, ang hirap kasi school work 9 to 4:30 or whatever yung pasok ninyo. So, how did you prepare for a game? Maybe, Patty, you could share.
Yeah, definitely. Like a lot of people forget that when you're a courtside reporter, you're still a student, and you know how hard it is in Ateneo just to survive. Like the bare minimum na nga, like all students already have such a difficult time in Ateneo because it is the Ateneo, and then you have the extra pressure of performing sa work, diba? Tapos may extra time, yung kumbaga your little free time, you have to allot it to study and to really perfect the craft of understanding all the terms. So I remember like during my lunch break or yung mga breaks in between classes, I would actually ask my friends who were into basketball, like usually yung mga batchmates ko, we'd huddle in the cafeteria, like, guys, please explain in layman's terms. So I love that, my friends were all like, you know what, we're gonna help you understand all of it. So parang naging team effort na rin. And I had a lot of classmates then who were part of the team. So even during their break time, like, kinukulit ko sila, like I would ask questions. So I guess looking back now, it was really difficult, especially since you're trying to survive as a college student and then you're working also part-time. But looking back, I think it was really excellent training because I'm sure a lot of you, like I see all of these girls excelling in the field of media, parang because we started with courtside reporting na talagang you had to do the legwork, you had to do all the work talaga by yourself. It was such a great training, especially coming into media. Na when we were doing hosting, parang madali na kasi parang, people can help me because before I used to do everything. I used to be running around and getting all the information. And I think I also want to credit the coaching staff, and I always tell Coach Sandy this because, I mean, for me, sila yung naging mentor talaga for me. I remember like, I would always be like, yung nasa side, ano sabi ni Coach? Ano sabi ni Coach, di ba? And then, Coach Andy would be, ganito yun, Patty, ganito yun. And at the same time, they're still watching the game habang kinukulit mo sila sa side. So, yeah, yung coaching staff, yan talagang best friends ng courtside reporters.
Actually, I'm lucky with, like, during our batch, Portia, during the huddle, she'd be the one going there because I'd have to report for the halftime break. So after, we'd exchange notes.
Correct.
So talaga we're like such a good partner.
Yeah, I went to all of the games, even to the ones that si Kamae would report.
That's great.
Kasi wala na ako alam sa basketball, so I really wanted to follow everything and to learn. So yun. And syempre, partners eh.
That's what I said. Like, lahat na erase na yung memory ko, like, because I had 2 sections already. So, when I watch the old games, my husband's like, wow, may alam ko pala sa basketball. I'm like, dude, legit ako dati, pwede ba? So, parang selective na yung memory ko eh. As a spectator na lang ako manonood.
Back to you, Coach Sandy. Freeze.
Froze.
Okay, Kamae, host na.
So, Miss Patty, I have a question.
Patty yan, bro.
I have to say this. That was actually
I'm back up dito, guys. Kasi lahat na nag-host. So,
Ayun, he's back.
there.
Sorry. If ano na lang if nag-hang uli, take over Sir Patty, take over. Okay. Now we'll ask Jazz. Jazz, how did you prepare for a game?
I think it's the same with Patty. Like, you get whatever resources you can find to help you out. But I think I also remembered before, I asked Je also, I went to her in Magic because she was in Magic and I was a junior jock before. And I asked her before we prepped through for the entire season. And that helped a lot as well, being able to touch base with somebody you also admire so much. Nax from the courtside world. It's a different world altogether. It's like a different beast. It's not something I'm used to. my background also, like my family doesn't follow the games. None of my friends follows the game. So I really had to revamp like who I hang out with, who I get to talk to. And of course, I agree also with Patina. The coaches are your savior, especially if you don't understand and the tensions are running so high. Like Coach Sandy, you've saved me so many times as well. And apart from the coaching staff as well, like it's also talking to Sina Boom also. The commentators, like maybe after the game, like talk to them. Like what did you appreciate? What type of bits you liked the most? What can we bounce off from? So that not only are you talking to the audience, but also to the commentators, like them themselves, like you guys can have a nice back and forth.
Yes.
Let's ask naman. Same question. Preparation for the game. Portia.
Well, apart from what si Prof. Patty and si Jazz already said, I watched a lot of YouTube videos of Patty. Kasi idol ko talaga si Patty niyan eh. Yung very first batch. Tsaka of Leah. Si Leah.
Yes, Leah.
So, I was trying to find my reporting style because although I was like Kamae, we hosted ORSEM actually that year together. Diba yung hosting sa reporting eh. So, diba you have to have the kind of knowledge versus just, being able to be spontaneous during an event. So yun, it's a lot of YouTube, asking my friends kasi I really had no basketball knowledge, just like everyone else. So it was just that the first few reports, wala lang, win lang talaga. As in confidence na lang, kahit di ko na alam yung pinagsasabi ko, I'm not even sure if it's the right thing to say. Diba? You learn every report lang eh. And of course, yeah, like I agree with everyone else. Ang bait ng coaching staff. I think that really gave us the reassurance so we can do this job, right? Although not perfectly, the support is still there. So that's something that I really, really appreciated and helped me, be successful also. Be your courtside reporter.
I think for a lot of people, they might say na, oh, you don't know basketball, but how can you be a courtside reporter? I think that what people don't realize is you may know stuff about basketball, but you cannot communicate it properly to the people, diba? And that's what you were excellent with. You're able to tell the story, diba? And ang hirap nun kasi you're telling the story across to people who are just watching on TV. And couple of you actually, after college, proceeded pa to be a courtside reporter. Diba? And maybe we'll ask Jessica, what were the skills or attributes that you could say that helped you land this courtside reporting gig? And not only that, but excel and even have a career after college. Diba? What were the skills and attributes you can say?
I think all the women here have those things. It's yun nga. And not, you mentioned kanina, Coach, lahat kami comm majors. I think, yeah, that's part of like this, or comtech. I think the skill is there, but I think the interest is a big part of it. Like you have to want to do it. Kasi, yun nga, it asks so much of you, lalo na if you don't know anything about the sport. It asks you to learn about the sport. Tapos kailangan mo rin matuto paano i-communicate yun. What are the stories that the audience is going to be interested in, and how do you get those stories? And I think those were things na, I think all of us had that potential before we started, pero you really had to dig and figure out which parts of those were in you as you were reporting. For the record, I had no intention of becoming a PBA courtside reporter at all. After 2 years sa UAAP, sabi ko, okay, tapos na. Whew, that was fun, pero I'm glad, gonna move on. Pero I graduated. I was a senior the first year. I was a reporter for Ateneo, and then I wasn't in school na the second year. And then a year after that, kinontak ako ng PBA. Sabi na, gusto mo mag-audition? I was like, I don't know. Basketball ulit. Tapos mas marami pang tao. Sabi ko, oh no, I don't know. Mas marami pa akong kailangan kilalanin. But I tried out. Sabi ko, why not? And a lot of the stuff that I learned while in college, while with the UAP, really, really helped me through working in the PBA. it's a totally different animal in some ways kasi talagang you really needed to know what you were talking about. Tapos ang haba din ng history, diba? You're not learning just the history of one team. When they start hitting statistics from like such and such game in 1990, whatever, you're like, okay, kailangan ko alamin yun para mabigyan ko ng context when I'm telling my stories. But it was a lot of fun. And while you're right, I think just because you know basketball, that doesn't mean it's just like just because you know basketball doesn't mean you can become a player. I think it's a different set of skills. I also think it's something that if you're really interested in, you can learn and become very good at.
With Jessica, it's interesting also because even right now with your job, you're still telling a story.
Yes, galing.
Yeah, I love it. I love that.
Okay, thanks for that, Jessica. Selina, let's hear from you.
What attributes do I have? Yeah, well, I think for me, because I see myself as a sponge, like, you know, I was always willing to learn from veterans, from those who went ahead of me. That's why before I got the part for Ateneo, I remember I'd watch videos pa on YouTube, like throwbacks, and I tried to pick up a thing or two from the courtside reporters I'd watch. And I'd listen a lot to the directors in ABS-CBN, the commentators, sila Boom Gonzalez also. And lucky for me, because that time our coach was Coach Norman Black, who, as we know, is also a sportscaster. So, you know, he'd give me a tip or two, or he'd give me feedback after a game. So that's really helped. So I think my greatest strength is just really that desire or that ability to keep learning and to acknowledge the fact that, you know, there's so many others who are so much better at what I do. There's so much more I could learn from them. And like Jessica, I didn't plan also on doing PBA. But when I got invited, I remember my first thoughts were, sigurado kayo? Because I literally did not know any player in PBA. So I literally had to sit down. I had to Google everything. I remember when I'd knock in the locker rooms, I would have a picture of the player I was going to interview, and then I'm going to scribble their name on it para alam ko kung sino yung hahanapin ko kasi so clueless about the league. Thankfully, I learned, I managed.
One thing in common na, well, di nyo na sinabi, pero you're very good in storytelling. Saka, one thing in common sa atin, mga chismoso tayo, chismoso. Hindi nyo sinasabi. Di ba? Thanks for that, Selina. So we'll go to the lightning round questions. Yeah. So let's have a little bit of fun. Okay? Basta whatever comes to mind right away, I'll throw some questions at you. First thing that comes to mind.
Coach, bumuboy abunda ka ha?
Ha?